Imagine placing your faith and hope in a guide who, under the promise of enlightening your path, slowly inserts ideas that trap your mind. While you believe you're progressing, they subtly manipulate your perceptions, trapping you in a web of illusions, confusing freedom with control. These masters often disguise themselves as enlightened but are ultimately interested in dominating fragile minds, hungry for answers. They know that by planting doubt and fear, they can keep you dependent, clinging to every word, every instruction. The truth is that no guide or master has the right to steal your discernment, but many do, silencing your inner voice. So ask yourself, who really holds control over your spiritual path? This is the moment to open your eyes to the truth, and the first step might be in the pinned comment. They speak of unconditional love, but do they truly understand its depth? Manipulative masters use this sacred concept to make you vulnerable, leading you to give up your own boundaries in the name of supposed evolution. Under the promise of love and acceptance, you become an easy target for demands that only benefit them, while your needs and limits are ignored. They know that once they gain your trust, you'll be willing to accept more than you should. Unconditional love should never imprison. It should liberate. And if deep down you feel like you're carrying a burden, something is wrong. This type of love that demands endless sacrifices isn't love, it's abuse. It's time to reclaim what is yours, your strength and your intuition. Look at the pinned comment. It could be a first step in understanding this hoax and freeing yourself. How many times have you thought you were evolving, but in reality, you were imprisoning yourself further in imposed beliefs? Spirituality should open doors, not close them. Yet many find themselves bound by dogmas and rules that repress more than they liberate. Each "don't do this" or "you need this practice" can be an invisible chain pushing you into a prison, disguised as enlightenment. A guide who promises freedom has no right to impose chains, for true spirituality is a personal path, not a list of commandments. These restrictions shape you, silencing your essence. Is your guide allowing you to be truly free? Comment below and share your experience with us. Your story may inspire others to find truth beyond the chains. Are there subtle signs you're under control? That guide who seems to understand everything, who suggests what's best and makes you question whether you should trust your own intuition, might be more than just an advisor. The game is simple. They promote insecurity in you so that every decision depends on their instructions. You're in their hands, moved by their words, like a puppet that has forgotten what it means to live for itself. The manipulation tactics may seem harmless, but when they make you doubt yourself, that's when everything is at risk. Every sign they present to justify their words could be an invisible chain binding you instead of freeing you. Want to know more about how to spot this? Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. It's time to cut the strings. Have you ever wondered if you're truly evolving or just creating a harmful dependency? Many masters know this. The more you depend on them, the less you believe in yourself. So, they shape you, conditioning you to always seek their words, their advice, their answers while you slowly fade. Emotional and spiritual dependency is a subtle and destructive path. It consumes your confidence, weakening your self-reliance. Every time you find yourself unable to make decisions on your own, the pain increases and your master gains more control. In the end, you're more lost than you were at the start, and they, with power in hand, become your jailer. Spirituality that limits you is an addiction, and like any addiction, it must be stopped before it completely destroys your autonomy. The freedom you seek will only be found when you trust yourself again. Are you really seeking spirituality, or have you fallen into a new form of disguised religion? Guides who create dependent followers often just change the appearance of dogmas but maintain absolute control. They hide behind a mask of enlightenment, the same old doctrinal patterns, creating an invisible sect that drains your autonomy. You know that voice that tells you to follow your heart? They make sure to stifle it, replacing it with rules, rituals, and orders that have nothing to do with true spirituality. Once trapped by these guidelines, you become just another follower without a voice. Look around. Do you feel free, or are you blindly obeying? Share your experience below. This is a reality many face in silence. What if, instead of helping, the spiritual path you chose is robbing you of your power to act? There are masters and gurus who feed eternal hopes and promises that everything will resolve itself as long as you follow their steps. Empty promises of change can trap you in an infinite wait, where tomorrow is always the day of your liberation, but it never comes. While you wait, your life stands still, at the mercy of a future only they control. The passivity these false promises foster is the real sabotage, preventing you from being the protagonist of your own life. So, if you're seeking clarity on your true spiritual journey, subscribe to the channel for content that exposes the traps of this path. Your life shouldn't be a constant wait, but an active movement. A true spiritual guide helps you strengthen your own intuition, not silence it. But unfortunately, many do the opposite. When you search for answers, your intuition should be your beacon. But manipulative guides place a fog around your decision-making ability, making you question your own instincts. They make you depend on their wisdom, as if only they have the power to show the way. In the end, you drift further away from your own inner power, drowning in doubts that never existed before. Don't let anyone take away your intuition. It's your most precious gift. When your inner voice is silenced, you lose the greatest treasure of your existence, your own essence. Have you ever felt like every challenge you face is your fault? Many spiritual guides and doctrines manipulate the concept of karma and responsibility to make you carry the guilt for situations that aren't always within your control. With every mistake or obstacle, you feel unworthy of growth because they convince you that you deserve these hardships. This vicious cycle of guilt and submission destroys your self-confidence, turning your quest for evolution into a heavy and lonely burden. They make you believe that you must endlessly purify yourself to deserve spiritual growth. Have you gone through something like this? Share in the comments. Your voice can help others see beyond this emotional trap. Without me, you won't get there. This is the subtext of many masters who use emotional blackmail to trap their followers. They know exactly where to strike to make you believe that your spiritual evolution depends on their presence in your life. Like emotional parasites, they plant the idea that without their guidance, you'll be lost, condemning you to eternally depend on their words. This blackmail is insidious, as it seeps into the most vulnerable corners of your heart. True enlightenment never creates this dependency. On the contrary, it dissolves it. So, ask yourself, who really needs whom here?